Welcome to Committed. I'm your host, Kirk Bradley. We're here with Tyler Gant, one of the top D linemen in the country, top D lineman in the state of St. Louis, reigning state champ. And with no further ado, I already said his name, but he can definitely introduce himself again.
How y'all doing? My name's Tyler Gant. I'm a class 2023. I play defensive line at CBC High School.
Dope, dope. So just to get into the start of things, Tyler, this is Committed. So the first question we definitely want to ask you is, what does being committed mean to you?
Honestly, it means everything. Like growing up, you see all these older guys you watching in high school, commit to schools, go D1, and it's a dream come true. Like being able to go to high school, get recruited as I was, and be able to find me a home outside of St. Louis was truly special.
That's dope. That's dope. You mentioned like the early years of growing up. Can you give us a little more insight as to what got you started into football, what started that craft for you, pretty much where you started JFL and how that worked for you?
Got you. So actually, my first love, my first sport was actually basketball. I started playing basketball when I was 3 years old, and I want to say I was pretty cold at it. But as I kept growing up, kept growing, my fourth grade, I was probably the biggest one in my class, and that's all we got to get on football. I was like, I don't know about that. So my first team was actually U City Hot Boys. I remember like in JFL days was amazing. So the U City Hot Boys. And I was killing it. Like I love hitting, I love being physical, I love the atmosphere, and it was just so amazing. So after fourth grade, I just stuck with it. I was only with U City for 1 year. My second year playing football was actually with the Junior Cadets, which is CBC's feeder team. And so I've been a cadet since I was 10 years old.
Okay, and you said you started when you were 10. Clearly, you said fourth grade was that moment for you when everybody's like, we got to get them in football. But when did you notice? Like when did you start playing sports, or what moment did you realize like, all right, I'm Tyler Gant. Like I'm not just out here playing ball. Like I am ball, you know? Like at what point did you realize that?
So yeah, so at first it was just for fun. Like I love doing this. I love hitting. My seventh grade year, I tried out for the USA national team, which is like this club that grade school guys can go like just to get take the extra step. Like you practice and you can practice by yourself, but actually going out and practicing with college coaches at a young age, I felt like really helped me along. So I was just trying out the team, like just see where I was at. Like, can I really do something with this? Is this really something I can consider, taking me to college? And I went out and I was going into seventh grade and I was dominating to the point where they had moved me up with the eighth grade high school guys for competition, like one on ones and all of that. And so I went to the tryout in Kansas City. I made it, and I was like, wait a minute, like this might actually work. So and actually the game for that for the USA national team is at the Canton, Ohio Hall of Fame Stadium. So this is back in seventh grade. I'm actually gonna be playing at that stadium again, week one against Milton, Georgia this year, which was like a full like circle moment for me, which is awesome. But at that game, I think my first play at the Canton, Ohio game, I got a tackle for loss, and everybody just went stupid. So I was like, yeah, I want to do this forever. Like I want to continue this for a long time.
That's dope. And you mentioned they had you playing up with older guys. Do you think that's kind of helped you become who you are? Like what sets Tyler apart? Like is it technique? Is it that experience with those older guys? Can you kind of give us like more insight on why you dominate, or like what sets you apart? Because everybody's great, but like you stand out in the bunch. So what is it that makes you stand out?
I feel like it's definitely a mindset. I've been playing up. I didn't even mention. I've been playing up since I was 5 years old. I mean, not 5 years old. In fifth grade, my first year with the junior cadets, I was in fifth grade playing on a sixth grade team. So ever since I've been playing sports, I've always played with guys older than me because I've always been like the bigger kid. And so like you can't be out there thinking like, oh, I'm the youngest, I get a pass. As soon as you step on that field, like you got to think I'm the best one out here. And so I always told myself like, there's nobody in my grade or in the grade above me that's gonna be able to mess with me. So freshman year, it wasn't no freshmen or sophomores that was able to block me. Sophomore year, it was no sophomores or juniors that was able to block me. My junior year, I'm the best one on the field. So it's always got to be that mindset. Like as soon as I step out here, I'm untouchable.
And you said it's about mentality. So I'm assuming that, like what does that dog in you come from? Like have you always had it? Is it does every top tier athlete have that dog in them, or where does that dog in you come from, and what does that mean? What does that mentality mean to you?
I feel like if you feel you are a top tier athlete, you have to have dog in you. Like I've had it in me because my family loves to compete. I'm a huge family guy. I'm a huge competition guy. I don't care if you're washing the dishes. I want to wash the dishes faster than you. So like I'm always trying to be the best. That's just me. That's yeah.
And you mentioned family. I know we're talking about like early years of your life, but you mentioned family. Is it other than family? What drives that? Is it like was there an event? Is it like your mom? Like what drives it you? What drives you as an athlete in a sense of like, yeah, everybody loves playing a sport, but like, what is the passion behind it?
Passion for me is just making my family proud. I'm extremely proud of just what my family has accomplished and how we push each other every day. I'm very blessed in the opportunities that I've had and the situations that they put me in. Growing up, I went to Clayton High School, but we actually lived in the city. I was in a desegregation program. My mom would wake up and drive me and my sister across town every day so I can get to school. And it's just like that the sacrifices that she made, the sacrifices that my dad made. He was in Atlanta early on. I was playing football. He'll drive down every weekend just to come and see me play. Like that that means something to me, you know, and I just want to make them proud. So in any way I can pay it forward, making them proud, making sure that them sacrifices don't go to waste, I gotta do it.
And you mentioned something earlier. You said you play with those older guys. So I want to ask you, like, you go to a top ranked school in the country. When you went there your freshman year, clearly you got all these guys in front of you. Like for me, you guys had what is Arion Penn. Y'all had Dalton. So y'all had all these kids in front of you. Like, what is that to the kids that were under you? What do you have to say to them? Because you were in their shoes at one point. How did you deal with that, and how like did that inspire you? Can you give us more insight on what it's like to go to a top tier high school and still like know that you like have these people in front of you and it's kind of intimidating? So like, how did you? Can you give us more insight? Like you had to boss up. So
Definitely, definitely. So definitely, like being a guy who is a little bit known, you know, out of middle school, they're expecting you to every eighth grade, every good eighth grader thinks, "Oh, I need to start on varsity." Going into a school like CBC, you cannot have that mindset. There are guys there who have been there for 4 years, who have been waiting their spot and who have been grinding and working their butt off. So as soon as I step in, I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? What's my game here? And I took a step back, took the ego away. You just gotta learn. Like these guys really know what they're talking about. These coaches really know what they're talking about. And if you really want to get to that next level, and if you really want to be the best person you can be, you just have to soak up all the information and soak up all the plays you can. Like just watching those guys work, seeing the work ethic, seeing them each other put each other in the gym, seeing how dominant and how hard they work their practice, definitely pushed me to become the player I am today.
welcome back to Committed. Back here with Tyler Gant. So Tyler, you mentioned pretty much remaining humble, sitting behind those guys on varsity. But as a junior, bro, 73 tackles, 15 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, and 2 picks. Like winning state too. Can you give us more insight on what was the highlight of last year for you? What was the one game that stood out to you last year?
I ain't gonna lie, I can't even set narrow it down to two. I say my favorite two games, and maybe even my best two games, were that first game of the season against Eastside and that last state championship game. Winning the state championship with those guys that we had my seniors last year was easily one of my favorite moments of the season and one of the best moments of my life. Like working there, all that hard work, grinding through these last 3 years with them guys, and then seeing it all come out on top and all being put together was amazing. Actually, those are also the two games that I got to pick. I got to pick. I got to pick up that batted ball in East Side, and I got to pick off a ball that I batted on a screen pass in the state championship game. And just that's when I feel like that East Side game, that first game of the season, that's when it all started to slow down for me. You know, like you watch the film, you work hard, you've been in the weight room all year, and it just the game starts to make sense. Like I'm seeing, you know, formations that I recognize off of film. Like, okay, I know their tendencies. I know what step he might take. I know off this cadence they're gonna run this play. And it just started to break down, and that's when I started to get my tackles. That's when I started to get in the backfield, and that's when I started disrupting. And so it definitely started to make sense.
And you mentioned those two games and what most kids or what most people or people that idolize you or people that are following you or might look up to you as children don't understand is that like, yeah, you have the goods, but those are the two best games. What game do you wish you could have back from last year? Is there any game where you were like, man, if I could redo it or if I could go back, I would have did this or I would have did that?
Definitely. That conference semifinal game right before state, we played Lee Summit North, and I was matched up with 5-star Caden Green. He definitely, out of all the offensive linemen that I've ever played, Caden got me. Caden got me. So it was definitely some players I wanted back. I had a neutral zone infraction off a fourth down. I just got too hyped. I was ready to go. But yeah, definitely that game, I got in my head a little bit, but we was able to pull out and come out on top. So
And you mentioned clearly you mentioned that. So the next question I want to ask you is also you being a top tier athlete, top ranked athlete in the country. Most people just think it's all glamour and glitz. What are some of the struggles that you deal with being a top tier athlete? Is it that people don't see? Is it having to always live up to that hype? Is it having to commit more, that commitment that you have to give? What is it that people don't see that you struggle with that drives you, but also is something that just like I wish they knew?
gotcha. So it's definitely, I'm definitely blessed to be in the position that I'm in, but it for sure gives you a target. So like you come out, especially against a well coached team, like they know who you are. They've been watching film on you. They know what you like to do. And so me with it just gives me extra motivation. Okay, yeah, you know my first move, maybe my second move, but I got 10 different moves in my back that I can pull out. So it's just motivation to always keep them guessing. You know, like if I'm noticed, okay, he's trying to stop this, okay, he knows what I like to do. I'm gonna switch it up on you and I'm gonna get you next time. So it's just it helps that competitive side of me. Like, oh yeah, like I got some competition now and just work off of it and it betters me, honestly.
And you mentioned this state championship, so I have two questions to that. My first one would be, how did you celebrate that state championship, bro? You have to like, what was the first thing you did? Was it you get something? Like I wrestle, so I don't know what it's like when we go to state. We get whatever meal we want. So what was the celebration afterwards?
I went celebrating with my teammates, dancing in the locker room, hype, everybody just throwing stuff everywhere, just because that moment was just surreal. Hurry up, packed up my stuff, and I booked it to the parking lot to go celebrate with my family. You know, as soon as I stepped off the stadium campus and I saw that parking lot, all my family cars were together. They're honking, yelling, screaming, like just seeing the joy on their faces. They all drove up there to see me. They all drove up to see me play my final game of the season, and just it's just seeing that celebration and seeing all of them embracing each other was amazing. Instantly, like we were like 30 deep. We all went to the same restaurant and just had an amazing time. So definitely celebrating that moment with my family. It made the moment just that much special.
And you keep mentioning family, and I love to win state with these guys. How do not, whether it's teammates, whether it's family, how do those people, how do they impact your performance, whether it's on or off the field? Like, what does that mean to you? Because you're very humble, and those people, you can clearly tell those people are the driving force behind you. How do they impact you, whether it's on or off the field?
Definitely. So I'm very blessed to be in a situation where I have people surrounding me that want to see me be great. I have people around me who drive me not only to be a better football player, but to be a better person, be a better young adult. And so when I'm on the field, and there's been times where I'm getting in my own head, I'm thinking, oh, I should have done this better. And like they can tell, like my family can tell if I'm on the field thinking too much. All I gotta do is look over. They're sitting in the same section every game. They just give me a thumbs up. They saying shake it off. Like just knowing that they have my back and they have my they're confident in me enough to like it doesn't matter how you play, like we gonna be here for you, we gonna work with you. And them guys on the field too, like it's been times where I'm getting in a scuffle or I might trip or something and they just pick me up like brush it off again. Like we know you here, we know you can do it, we know you a dog, just show them. Like just get out your own head. And so having those people by your side is essential, I feel, to be great, to reach your full potential. Gotcha. So I'm always trying to level up. Like if I accomplish a goal, it's always the next goal. It's always the next goal. So just keep trying to progress and keep trying to become a better person. That number one goal, I definitely need to go back to back. That getting that second state championship, that's my number one goal. That's what I've been working for. That's what I want. That's my number one want this season. My second goal, I feel like I've proved myself enough, and I feel like I'm in that role to get that defensive player of the year spot in the MCC. So that's what I'm eyeing personally, and that's definitely what I want. And then as far as progressing, as far as leveling up, I think I was third in the team in tackles last year, and I had 73. I definitely want to break 73 tackles. I want to break 73 tackles. I want to break 15 tackles for loss. I just need to keep upgrading and keep getting back there. And that 5 sacks, that was a fluke. We gonna knock that out the park this year.
Okay, and you mentioned leveling up. So we've discussed high school and leveling up. Clearly, everybody knows you picked Northwestern. Why Northwestern?
I feel like a lot of people were surprised when I picked it over some of the offers that I had, but being up in Evanston, being up in Chicago, it felt like home. Every time I think I visited 3 times before I committed, the coaching staff, they drive each other. They've been interconnected. They've been there. Most of the staff has been there for 10 plus years. They know what they're about. They know their foundation and they know how to win. I love the city. The campus is beautiful. Chicago is beautiful. It just felt like I didn't want to leave. Because I feel like I'm ready to get up there now.
Right back to you guys. Committed. Tyler still. So Tyler, very rare for kids or just athletes in general to mention that education. Um, Clearly Northwestern is a top tier school in the country. Can you go into more detail? Well, if people don't know this about you, clearly you're going to school for robotics and you're in a STEM program. Can you give us a little more insight on what that means to you and the importance of both of those to you right now
For
and
sure.
Northwestern?
For sure. For sure. For sure. So I've loved doing robotics and STEM since elementary school. Actually, my first STEM program was here in St. Louis. It was like a little summer camp out near U City, and I loved it. So every day we were playing with Legos, we were coding, we were working with our hands, and just being able to build something with my hands, type of something like a code into a computer and make it do an action. It just makes me smile. It gets me excited, and so being able to take that and then continue it on through middle school and high school was, I feel like, essential for me. So I did the camp for I think 3 or 4 years, went on to middle school, and that's when STEM was starting to pick up. When we got into middle school, I was doing every coding class, every STEM class that I could. I took principles of engineering, I think twice in middle school, and then being able to go to CBC, and I took the intro to robotics class freshman year, and I was on the advanced robotics team where we traveled around different schools and competed in certain competitions, and just being able to grow that love. And I always told myself like, okay, this is what I want to do. Like a lot of guys, a lot of people don't get to work in a field that they love. Like, I can honestly say that if I have to wake up at 6 in the morning every day and go and work with a robot all day, I will be happy for the rest of my life. So being able to find that thing that I love and be able to exercise it as much as I can, I feel like it's very important to me. So when I was picking that school, I was like, okay, I know what I want to do. I know that if I have this job, I'm gonna be successful and I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm not gonna let that go. I'm not gonna let that slip away from me. So what school is gonna help me exercise that and be the best I can at that field?
And that's actually dope that you definitely have. It doesn't even. It seems like you have a main plan that's education, and then football's that backup, and that's really rare. Can you tell us what it's like to challenge yourself off the field too? Because most athletes aren't doing that. They're challenging themselves on that field. But can you go into the importance of challenging yourself in the classroom and on the field? Like you going to Northwestern, bro. You could have went to Bama, you could have went to Mizzou, and you went to Northwestern. So can you kind of tell us the importance of making education first, and or just challenging yourself still off the field?
Definitely. So the way I was raised was you do education, you get education done, you get your homework done, and then you go play football. So it's always our education was first. And so when I was in elementary school, in middle school, and I had practice at 6 o'clock, my parents was like, "Nah, you gonna get this homework done, and then we gonna take you to practice." And that's just been my mindset. I've always believed that knowledge and education will take you wherever you want to go. And when I found that love for football, and I was like, okay, I know to get to this, to get to Northwestern, to get to a big D1 school, education comes first. And so being the guy that I was and being doing things that I was doing, like in sophomore year, freshman year, playing football, I was okay. This guy's pretty good. Let's look at him. Oh, wait a minute, he got a 4.5 GPA, and like that step was automatically checked off. And so I feel like that definitely helped me in my recruitment. That I didn't have to worry about that grade section because that's something that I excel in.
And you mentioned the recruitment process. So come on, bro. Nobody gets to experience these recruiting trips or go through this process on the level that you're going through it. Most kids are getting recruited by smaller schools. What's the most exciting part of the recruitment process? Clearly,
I
it's fun.
say definitely for me, it was just the vibes of being able to go to so many different colleges. I can honestly say I visited over 15 different Division 1 college campuses, and each one was an amazing experience. You know, you getting carted around on a golf cart, you seeing these $1 million facilities. They got jacuzzis and pools, and the players are living in luxury suites, and they in college. Like it's just insane. And then going actually to my to OV to Northwestern it's the only official I took, and just being able to go out with the players, see the city. You know, downtown Chicago, like on a weekend, is insane. It's beautiful. Rode the subway for the first time. Just vibes everywhere. And we toured the Cub Stadium, which some the Northwestern actually played at for a football game last year. Being able to see a Hall of Fame baseball stadium, but like we're the only ones in there. Like just exclusive things like that is just it just makes recruiting that much more amazing and difficult at the same time. Because you know you're seeing all these different places, you're seeing all these cool things. Like how am I ever gonna decide? But definitely like that experience and seeing all them different environments and people, it's something I'll never take back, and I loved every moment of it.
And so you mentioned that you chose Northwestern. I mean, it's already out there. What to the fans at the university, to the city of Chicago, and even in St. Louis, what are they getting out of Tyler? Everybody wants to say who Tyler is or what Tyler does, but only Tyler can do that. So what is Northwestern getting out of Tyler as a young man, a student, and an athlete?
Definitely. So, as a young man, they're getting a hard worker, somebody who is dedicated to the game, who is dedicated to taking himself and the people around him to the next level, and somebody who loves to compete, who loves to win. As a player, they're getting somebody physical who loves destructing in the backfield, who just loves the trenches and loves getting down and dirty with the D line. And as a student, they're getting somebody who is dedicated to getting as much knowledge as he can, learning as much as he can, and making an impact on wherever he goes. I feel like I've made my impact on CBC. I feel like I made my impact on my middle school. I'm for sure going to do everything I can to make the biggest impact I can as a Northwestern Wildcat.
And one thing you said earlier was that um, you were like pretty much you were committed to this process. You're about to take another step. You're going to college. Very humble. Clearly, you understand. You've always played up, and as you go to the next level, the competition is going to increase. How do you remain so committed, still producing? Like how are you going to continue being humble, still continue to be top tier, and still compete at that next level with that competition changing? Like how are you going to remain committed as things change? You're going to have so many distractions at the next level. You won't have that access to the family. So how do you plan on staying committed and remaining committed and being humble and still just being a dog at the next level?
Sure, I definitely take it takes a balance. It takes knowing what you want, and it takes being true to yourself. Like when I go, I know I believe in my abilities. I know that I should be here. I know that I earned my spot, and I know that I'm good enough to play. But I also know the importance and the value of listening and of learning and of just being attentive. right? So like you go to practice, maybe that just for me, like I'll say freshman year. I got moved up to varsity. I'm at a varsity practice and I see, oh, okay, this senior was doing a drill and he kind of messed up. But I saw the way coach was doing, he did it differently. I'm a step up. I'm gonna be confident. I know my abilities. I'm gonna do the drill right. I might show him up. So, it kind of boosts. You just got to be smart about it. You got to know how to play the game. And so me knowing that I know this process, me knowing that I've been going against older guys my whole life and I know the game. I know that if I stay true to myself, I'm gonna be successful. I have the blueprint. I have the confidence. I have the ability to listen, ability to learn. Like I know if I stay true to that blueprint, I will be successful and I will come out on top.
Before I let you go, Tyler, clearly we asked you this at the start of this interview, or the podcast, but I want to know pretty much since you've got all this off your chest now, everybody knows you as more than an athlete. They know you as a young man. They know you as a student athlete, and they know you as a student too. What does it mean to be committed to you now that you've answered all these questions?
If it means the world just to know that as far as committing to a college for a young man playing football, this is one of the most stressful decisions you're ever going to make in your life. And to know that I was able to commit to a school that I am 110% committed in, a place that I know is going to accept me for who I am and who's going to help me get to my next level as a man and as a football player. It makes me feel like it takes all the weight off my shoulders. Like I made the right decision. I set a great example for the guys coming after me. I got guys coming up to me in school like, "Oh, what made you decide? Like, what steps did you go through? Like, what was your mindset?" And it makes me feel great knowing that I'm setting a good example for the next person.
And you mentioned something, and this will be our last question before we let you go. What type of, you keep mentioning these guys under you, and clearly you being a younger guy helped you a lot. What advice do you have to kids everywhere that are just sitting there? They're sitting back right now. They don't even know what's in store for them. They're hoping to be Tyler. What advice do you have to them?
My number one piece of advice is definitely be hungry. I feel like it's a lot of guys that get content, they get a little bit of success, or they get a little bit of um, knowledge, and they're just okay. Like I'm good with this. Like no, always be hungry. Always try to get to the next step. Always try to elevate yourself, and never be satisfied. Definitely never be satisfied, and go and get what you want in life.
Well, there you have it, guys. Tyler Gant, great interview. Thanks for your time. Looking out for him this year. CBC, Milton, definitely tap in. Great year in state champs back to back. Thank you.